CBS News Channel. This is 9 News at Noon.
Good afternoon. We start with breaking news. LSU tried to sugarcoat the news, but State Treasurer John Kennedy is making it crystal clear. He says investors are so nervous about LSU's financial future, they are pulling out. LSU sold nearly $115 million in bonds to investors on Tuesday for two main reasons: to fund major new construction projects on campus, including new residence halls, and to save interest on existing debt. But now the treasurer says investors have pulled out of the majority of the deal because they are concerned about possible drastic cuts in state funding for LSU. Kennedy says investors are, quote, sounding the alarm bell, and added, we need to listen. We will have much more on this still developing story on our website, WAFB.com. An update now to a big case out of Livingston Parish. President Leighton Ricks says he'll hand over a $325,000 settlement check to Corey Delahousse. That money is for contract work completed in the aftermath of Hurricane Gustav. Delahousse and his company filed a pair of lawsuits against the parish related to that contract work. Earlier this month, the parish council told the parish attorney to finally settle the cases. This afternoon, New Orleans police are investigating a violent overnight in the Crescent City. An early morning shooting in Central City sent a man and woman to the hospital. Police say it happened around 2 this morning. No word on the condition of the victims or a possible arrest in the case. Then just an hour later, a fatal double shooting in New Orleans East. Police arrived at the scene to find the bodies of a man and woman around 3 this morning. Both had several gunshot wounds, including some to the head. Now, it's still early in the investigation, but police believe the shooting may have stemmed from a home invasion. Well, I've got my umbrella and my raincoat out. We might have to dodge some storms this afternoon. Let's head over to meteorologist Steve Caparata for our first alert forecast. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Jaron. Yeah, that's right. We had a few light showers come through Metro Baton Rouge, only produced a trace of rainfall here at Channel 9 in downtown Baton Rouge. Let's give you a look at the latest on radar right now. We've got some light showers along the state line into southwest Mississippi. Light rains in parts of Wilkinson County. Light to occasionally moderate showers, but bigger storms that we're tracking right now are in eastern Texas, headed into western Louisiana. Very active stuff. This is what we'll be watching closely as the afternoon progresses. Will those make it over here late this afternoon into the evening? That's a big question. The Weather Service in Lake Charles just a few moments ago issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of East Texas and western Louisiana until 12:30. Check out all the lightning that's occurring with that cluster of storms. Over 1,800 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes just in the last 15 minutes. We're going to have to watch it. Storm Prediction Center says there's now a 60% chance of some sort of weather watch being issued for parts of South Louisiana over the next hour or so. So we'll update you on that if a watch does indeed come out. With those showers we had come through earlier, temperatures kind of held down. 73 right now in Baton Rouge, 78 in Lafayette, and Macomb only at 69. So again, tracking the threat of some storms later on this afternoon, but at least some decent news in the weekend forecast. More on that in just a few, Jaron.
Thank you, Steve. Anti-terror police in Italy may have foiled a plot to attack the Vatican. As Susan McGinnis explains, that's after officers locked up more than a dozen suspected terrorists in raids.
Police hauled away members of a suspected Islamic terrorist ring after a series of raids on the Italian island of Sardinia. Authorities say they tapped the phones of terror suspects who talked about carrying out a big jihad, possibly against the Vatican. The chief prosecutor says a would-be suicide bomber from Pakistan arrived in Rome in 2010 to target Vatican City, but did not go through with the attack. Officials believe the terror suspect wanted to strike a crowded area, not then Pope Benedict. Authorities say the same group of extremists launched one of Pakistan's deadliest bombings the year before, killing more than 100 people at a busy market in Peshawar. The Vatican is downplaying the significance of the alleged plot, with officials saying there is no cause for concern. Police say two of the suspects arrested Friday were former bodyguards for Osama bin Laden. Susan McGinnis, CBS News.
Now, security is always tight around the Vatican, and Pope Francis says he knows he's a target. He says he fears for the innocent crowds who come to see him. Well, this afternoon, we're learning much more about a dramatic stage collapse in Indiana. Take a look and listen. Just tragic there. Students at a high school had just started the final act in a stage version of American Pie when the stage came down. You can see it. It was all caught on camera last night. Emergency responders say nearly 24 students were hurt. One witness described the scene as quite pandemonium.
It was like a dog pile down in the pit, and just, you know, the cover for it was pinning students underneath, and so there was a lot of men that got up there right away. Were trying to free the students.
School leaders are holding class today, but guidance counselors are on hand just in case. In North Carolina, hotspots are still burning and investigators are still trying to figure out what sparked this building fire. It happened last night at an old mobile home manufacturing plant in Lillington. The building was being used to store wooden pallets, which only made the flames worse. 2 firefighters were hurt putting out that blaze. Happening today, dozens of people will gather at the Capitol for what's being called a nurse-in. It's part of a nationwide movement to bring attention to public breastfeeding laws. Organizers say they planned this after a number of incidents where mothers were bullied for breastfeeding in public. They're scheduled to meet in front of the Capitol at 1:30, just over an hour from now. Well, today marks the 25th anniversary of the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope. It's considered one of the most challenging and successful NASA missions in the history of space exploration. Mark Albert reports from Washington.
And liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery with the Hubble Space Telescope.
25 years ago, the Hubble telescope took off on board Shuttle Discovery, going from great fanfare to near fatal flaw, sending back blurred images that almost doomed the whole enterprise.
The astronauts were able to return to Hubble, repair the optical problem, and we've had fabulous images ever since.
Scientists say the secret to Hubble's success has been NASA's ability to fix broken or outdated components.
Right now, Hubble is more scientifically powerful than ever.
NASA credits Hubble with completely transforming our view of the universe, from measuring the age of the cosmos to proving the existence of supermassive black holes. Hubble's successor, the James Webb Space Telescope, debuts in 2018.
It's going to be able to answer the biggest questions in astronomy today that Hubble just can't quite answer.
Questions like, when did the first stars light up? When did the first galaxies form?
There's no doubt that Hubble has laid the framework for what we'll discover with Webb.
The two telescopes may see some overlap. Hubble should be working for at least 5 more years. And with more than 1.2 million observations, it already holds the distinction of the most scientifically productive spacecraft ever launched. Mark Albert, CBS News, Washington.
Scientists say the Webb telescope will be about as big as a tennis court, even bigger than the Hubble, which is the size of a school bus. Also, Webb will observe infrared wavelengths of light, which the Hubble can't see. Well, volunteers are still needed for this year's Fix Up Mid-City Service project happening tomorrow. For nearly 20 years, the Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance has organized this day of service to try and beautify and revitalize Baton Rouge's Mid-City neighborhood. Tomorrow, neighborhood volunteers will work to transform an old property on North Acadian into a community center. Organizers say bringing business to Mid-City is great, but restoring the residential needs is just as important.
The commercial work that we get done in the area, I mean, that's all really bringing back this whole region, but you got to work in the neighborhoods as well, and you got to help those that are less fortunate. So that's what we've always done.
We've got the information on how to volunteer posted at WAFB.com. Still to come on 9 News at noon, new apps to help kickstart your garden no matter how green your thumbs are. And efforts to stop hazing and racism at one Ivy League may be falling short. We'll be right back.